Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's show on JTV. Happy to be with you on a Tuesday this week. I'm David. That's Adam.
Hello.
Thank you to the Insurance Circle Agency. Felt weird doing it today on a Tuesday.
Yeah, it's weird, but
We'll be with you again on Tuesday next week too. We have basketball live on Monday.
That's right.
We'll talk about that.
Yep. And yesterday had a bunch of stuff going on, and then we had to wait till the national championship. We had to figure out.
Well, I was going to mention that too. It worked out anyways.
Yeah, because we would have given our speculation to the national championship
for a whole week.
Yeah, exactly. So it's better that we can actually talk about the result, which we will get to.
All right, well, let's start with last week in high school basketball. Let's start with the boys. We had it live on JTV on Tuesday. Springport knocking off Concord for their first win against them in 8 years, winning 62-54. Jake Kriegel was JTV's Tri-County Water Player of the game with 19 points and 4 assists for the Spartans, and he was one of 4 players for Springport to score in double figures in that game. And Connor Stevens, the Trine commit, led Concord with 25 points and 10 rebounds. Also which, by the way, shout out to Matt Kibbe and Max. Great job on Springport and Concord. I was not able to be at that game, but great win for Springport.
Yeah, I got to have Matt Lehman on the broadcast. And
that's right.
I felt like, and it was the same thing, I caught the second half of the JV game. I feel like they were formatted almost the exact same, where it was just like Springport just had a little bit of a lead, and Concord they kept kind of matching each other.
Nobody could pull away with the lead.
And then Springport pulled away a little bit at the end. It was the exact same thing with the JV.
And then in a couple of other key matchups from last week, on Wednesday in the Cascades, Napoleon rallied back from being down 12 in the third quarter to defeat Hanover Horton 60-52. And on Friday, it was at Parma Western High School, Western Northwest. That was an all-timer, 61-57 Northwest with the win. After being down by 9 at halftime, Western took a 1-point lead after the third, thanks to senior Chance Pangborn. 15 points for him just in that third quarter alone. And then Northwest took the lead by scoring the first 5 points of the fourth quarter and remained in the lead the rest of the way. And they take the I-8 conference win and the rivalry win, 61-57. The freshman Rododo, 24 points for Northwest, and Chance Pangborn, 27 for Western. And on Saturday, Fowler beat Concord in a battle of top 10 teams in Division 4, 56-52. So, heading into this week, looking at the conference standings for the Big 8, Concord, Springport, and Stockbridge are all in a 3-way tie for first. Concord and Springport still have to play their second meeting with each other, and all 3 still have to play each other again for their second meetings. And then in the Cascades West, Jonesville currently in first with a conference record of 6-3, and Columbia and Hanover tied for second at 5-3. Columbia and Hanover play each other this week in Brooklyn, and we will have that game for you live on JTV Thursday night. All of the Columbia people that I have already talked to, they are very excited for us to be there, and they're very excited for this game. It's going to be a whiteout Thursday night, too.
Cool. Yeah, that'll look cool.
They're giving away T-shirts as well, like they do at the stadiums.
Like an NBA game. Wow.
So Thursday night whiteout for the student section, and it was a whiteout last year, too, when we had a game at Columbia, coincidentally. So looking forward to that. I know they are very loyal viewers of JTV, so we appreciate that. And it's going to be a great game with Hanover, so we're excited for that. In the Cascades East, Michigan Center currently in first at 8-0, and Leslie in second at 7-0. Lumen Christi currently in third place in the AA division of the Catholic League at 6-3, trailing Detroit Loyola by 2 games, and Dearborn Divine Child. They are in first place. Lumen already lost to both of those teams in each of their first meetings with them this year. And after Northwest beating Western, they are now tied for second place in the Interstate 8 with Marshall. And both of them are 2 games behind Penfield. And then in the SEC White, Jackson is tied for third at 3-2 with Adrian, just a half game behind Chelsea for second. Couple of key matchups this week. Columbia Central, 2 big games for them. They got the Napoleon rivalry tonight, Tuesday, that just started as we're coming on here. And then Thursday, taking on Hanover. We'll have that live. And then the second meeting with Detroit Loyola and Lumen Christi in Detroit on Friday. The first time these 2 teams met, they were ranked 1 and 2 in the state, and Detroit Loyola beat them, not by much. So it's going to be a great game on Friday in Detroit. And then in high school girls basketball last week on Tuesday, in a battle of 2 of the area's top girls squads, Columbia Central was ranked number 8 at the time, traveled to Grass Lake, and the Warriors ran away with it 58-31 over the Golden Eagles. Also on Tuesday, Lumen Christi went to Toledo to face Toledo Notre Dame, 50-46 in double overtime. And then live on JTV, we had this game on Thursday night. Grass Lake, 2 big wins for them last week, this time defeating Michigan Center 61-55. The lead was back and forth. Warriors pulled away late. Big Cascades East win at home. Reese Lape was our Tri-County Water Player of the game. And Grass Lake is now 9-1 overall and takes over first place in the Cascades East Division. It was great to be back at Grass Lake. I had not been there since we did a game there last year. So great win for them. The crowd is always great at Grass Lake, too.
Oh, yeah.
So,
oh, yeah.
Even had a fan ejected.
That was something. That was something. Got that on the broadcast.
Yes.
And they stopped, what I thought was crazier, they stopped play to do that. Like, there was a possession going on. Like, stuff was happening. And they stopped the play to eject a fan. You think you would wait till after?
And we're not going to, put out there what he said or anything, but it wasn't bad enough to eject that person from the game, number 1. And number 2, that can't be, it's not like that's the worst thing that officials ever heard from a parent or a fan.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Based on the reports that we heard,
right,
what was said. But yeah, no, I still thought it was weird to stop play to do that. At least it was first half, so it wasn't like a crazy situation. But like, more people know that's going to happen. It's like, all right, you have the opponents have a good offensive possession and stuff's going on. Just yell at the refs and they'll stop play. I just think it's weird. I just think wait till the play's over. It'd be like stopping during a pitch in baseball, having the umpire call time, like as the pitch is leaving the pitcher's hands.
You can't do that.
Can't do that. So, interesting, but it was still a really, really fun game though. Those are always fun. Grass Lake Michigan Center is always a marquee matchup in my mind.
And that between both of those girls teams, they've had some all-time games.
Yeah.
Since I've started here at
Same
JTV,
here, yeah.
like 7 or 8 years ago, they've always had some great games. So, and they're going to play each other one more time at Michigan Center in February. Yeah. So that's going to be really good. And then some conference standings updates. Concord leads the Big 8, undefeated 5-0 in Big 8 play. They lead Union City by half a game and Stockbridge by 1 game. Hanover Horton leading the Cascades West at 6-1. Columbia Central 2 games behind them in second place. So Hanover Columbia boys play on Thursday. We'll have that live. And then Columbia plays at Hanover for the girls on Friday. And I plan on going to that too. So we'll have some video of that game as well on our show next week. So Hanover Columbia rivalry, back-to-back days for boys and girls. And then, of course, after beating Michigan Center, Grass Lake now leads the Cascades East to 7-0. They're 9-1. So they play each other twice and they can split, but it's still really hard now if you're Michigan Center to win the East, because then you have to beat Grass Lake, then you'd be tied with the same conference record, but then Grass Lake would need Grass Lake to lose another game, and based on who else is in the East, that's probably not going to happen. So for Michigan Center to have really any chance now at representing the East in the championship game in February at Spring Arbor, they have to beat Grass Lake in the second meeting. So I hope we get to do the second game live at Michigan Center because that's going to be great. So.
Yeah.
And then Lumen Christi currently tied for first in the Central East Division of the Catholic League. Lumen beat Ann Arbor Father Gabriel Richard in the first meeting. That's who they're tied with. But right behind Lumen is Toledo Central Catholic, who beat the Titans by 3 in the first time. Lumen plays both Toledo and Ann Arbor Gabriel Richard this week. So those standings in that division of the Catholic League really going to shake out this week. And then Western leading the Interstate 8 at undefeated 6-0 in conference play. Couple of key girls matchups this week. Tuesday in the Big 8, Concord travels to Union City. Columbia Central hosts the top team in Division 4 in Morenci. I think Morenci is pretty much the favorite to win the girls' title in Division 4 right now. And Concord's another favorite. They made the semifinal last year, so they were at Breslin. But Morenci beat Concord by 33 in the first game of the year. So Columbia and Morenci going to be really good on Tuesday. Wednesday, Western hosts Detroit Edison, a Division I school. Lumen Christi beat Edison, one of their 2 Division I wins. Then I just mentioned Columbia Hanover for the girls on Friday. So a lot of good stuff this week with high school boys and girls basketball. So check it all out online at jtv.tv and subscribe. And, of course, we'll have Hanover Columbia boys on Thursday. We'll get to that at the end of the show. So I'm glad we waited till Tuesday to do this. Like you just mentioned, Indiana. I remember going to anytime they would come to the big house when I was younger, and we would go to those games against Indiana. We left early. It was a blowout. Indiana was not good. They were the losingest program in college football history. And now they turn it around, 16-0, national champions, beat Miami in their home stadium. What a year for them. So we'll get to that. NFL Divisional. New England and Denver and Seattle all in it, 3 of the 4 teams. This reminds me of 2015 all over again with Brady, Manning, Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
So, and then we'll get to the head coaching cycle that's still happening. So, Green Bay not only needs a new head coach, which it's not happening because they signed an extension with him, but we also need a new defensive coordinator now because he took a head coaching job. Pistons are doing really well. They're now 31-10 on the year. And then Saturday was a big day for college basketball as well. Red Wings still doing well.
And I do want to add to this that we'll talk about this, but a couple things in baseball news as well. Hall of Fame ballots go out today, so talk about who might get elected to the Hall of Fame. Could this be A-Rod's year? Probably not, but he's still on the ballot as a possibility, but probably won't get enough votes. And then
I'm assuming he's been eligible before. This year.
But with the whole steroid issue, that's a lot of those guys are not getting in. But there are a few people that might get in, and then a couple free agent news to discuss. All I'll say is the richer get richer, or the rich get richer, rather.
Yeah, people know who that is.
Yeah,
right
I
away.
think they do.
And then at the end of the show, we'll get to both of our live basketball games on JTV. Next week, we'll be with you on Tuesday because Monday we'll have Jackson at Northwest Monday night. And then Friday we'll have Bloomfield Hills, Cranbrook at Lumen Christi. So we'll get to the Hoosiers when we come back on JTV. Welcome back here on JTV. Thank you to the Insurance Circle Agency, West Michigan's family-driven insurance solution provider, myinsuranccircle.com. Monday night, history in the college football world. Indiana, the Hoosiers, 27-21 over Miami. Fernando Mendoza, Heisman Trophy winner. He put the team on his back, especially on that last touchdown. By the way, what a Dan Campbell type call. 4th and 5. You're inside your own 10 or 15-yard line, or Miami's. You're about to score. But it's 4th and 5. In that situation, in that type of game, you take the points, right? You would think. No, we're going to go for it on 4th and 5, and it's going to be a QB draw right up the gut, and Mendoza putting his body on the line. What an unbelievable play call.
Yeah, I mean, that's what got him to the dance, right? Making those right decisions and right play calls in the situations, knowing your team and knowing, like I said, the situation. I think we talked about this at every point in this college football season, that Indiana was the story, and kind of low-key rooting for them the whole way. Obviously, you'd want Michigan to go, but we knew this was probably not the season for that, especially with what happened later. But to be able to have that was kind of the story, and that was kind of, I think, America was rooting for Indiana just because of how cool that was. So good for them. I'm super happy that they were able to get the win. Upset because I do like Carson Beck. I like what he did for Georgia. So upset that his career ends on that note, especially because I don't think he'll do much in the NFL. So that might be it for his college or for his football career. But man, great game.
So the Miami offense did not have a first down conversion until the last drive before halftime.
That's nuts.
And then Mendoza, 16 of 27 for 186 in his rushing touchdown. Carson Beck, 19 of 32, 232, 1 touchdown.
I mean, based on those stats, it doesn't seem like that's what happened.
Right.
When you look at Carson Beck's stats, it's pretty darn good. And that interception, obviously, that he had 1 touchdown, 1 pick, the pick was the last play. So,
and what a year for the freshman Malachi Toney for Miami. 10 catches for 122. Back to Carson Beck. I do feel for him. And on the broadcast last night, I think it was a post game. Chris Fowler, which, by the way, great call as always by Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit. That was Kirk Herbstreit's 30th year of doing college football.
Wow.
Started on game day with Chris and Lee Corso in 1996.
Wow.
30, and he's not old either.
No,
he's only in his mid-50s.
He'll stick around for a while.
Yep. So Chris Fowler brought up a good point. He said, look, Carson Beck first started out as a backup at Georgia for 2 years. He was on that national championship team or that back-to-back, but he was a backup, so his...
Did he win it 1 year, or was that... Maybe I'm just thinking of, got to the playoffs. Got to the semifinals.
He didn't win it as a starter.
That's what I was thinking. Okay.
So he was the backup for that back-to-back at Georgia. Still had a decent run there when he did play in that year. He did start there. And then just for a while, he just went quiet. He didn't really make some sort of headline from when he left Georgia to then this year with Miami. You didn't hear anything about him. Had quite a bit happen in his personal life. Obviously, when he was dating one of the Cavender twins, that was very public. Then that relationship
ended. And I don't
ended.
even know who these people are.
They're the 2 twins that play basketball at Miami.
Oh, I do know who that is. Okay.
He was dating one of them, and the other sister's married Jake Ferguson from the Cowboys.
Oh, Jake Ferguson. One of my fantasy tight ends.
And obviously that kind of relationship's very public, and that relationship ended. Obviously, whether he was in the right or wrong about that, people still trash him on social media. And then had the run with Miami. People were debating if Miami shouldn't have even been in the playoff to begin with. Then they make it all the way to the final night. And then that's how his career ends with the interception. So I do feel for him. I don't think, even if he does get drafted, it's not going to be first round or anything high. So that was probably it for him. So what a run for him. And it was interesting, too, today. So Mendoza's younger brother is the backup, freshman. He just announced today he's entering the transfer portal.
I saw that. Yep.
They didn't say why. I think everybody's kind of surprised by that because I think everybody thought, okay, Fernando is going to be drafted number 1, so his brother's just going to take over and be the starting quarterback. I think that's what everybody thought, and then we were surprised by that.
Yeah.
So, shout out to Indiana. They were the losingest program in college football history. So they go from that to, nobody being at their games. The visiting team would fill their stadium.
To now they're a hot ticket.
Yep, and Indiana plays at Ann Arbor this next year.
Oh, that'll be a good game.
So I can't wait to go to that game. Maybe that's the game we go to.
I like that, yeah.
So, all right, NFL Divisional. The Broncos win in overtime 33-30. Quarterback Bo Nix out with a broken bone in his ankle. And nobody knew about it until after when Sean Payton came up to the mic right away in the press conference, said, look, just going to get out of the way now. He's hurt. He's done.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, Tracy Wolfson noticed it when she interviewed him right after the game. You could tell he was only putting weight on his one. He was only standing on one leg. And she asked him about it, and he just said, it's a tough game. I'm okay. But he knew before that he was done.
Oh, yeah.
So Jarrett Stidham is going to be starting for the Broncos. Only 4 career starts ever. Started off as Tom Brady's backup in New England.
That's right.
And now here he is starting in place of the rookie or second year Bo Nix.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be something.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about the AFC and NFC championship games in a second, but I don't know. I think that this year's games are really and the NFC is kind of like, that makes sense. Those are probably the 2 best teams in the NFC this year. But the AFC is kind of that game is weird, and Vegas only has Patriots -5. I know it's in Denver, but it's just kind of weird where you have Jarrett Stidham as the quarterback. I know Denver's been great, but I just don't think they have a shot.
Well, and the Patriots came in as the best team in the AFC, arguably, the whole year besides Denver.
Yeah.
They played like it. So I was not surprised to see New England make it here. Denver, I was still surprised by. The way Jacksonville was playing to end the year.
They were red hot.
I thought it was going to be New England, Jacksonville.
Well, I would have to go back and see, but I mean, I forgot who I had against the Rams. I don't know if I said it was going to be Seattle Rams. I can't remember. But that makes the most sense. And honestly, New England, Denver make a lot of sense. You really have the 4 best teams this year in this, but now you have one team now without a quarterback. So it's just like makes those games kind of tough. But I'll tell you this, I'm rooting for whatever team comes out of the AFC. Not super interested in the Rams winning again. Not super interested in Seattle winning.
No, I'm not.
Even though I think they're a fun
in
team.
that.
Well, I know why you're not. But the AFC, it's like I'm rooting for Vrabel. I really want him to win a championship with his former team. I think that'd be awesome. He'd only be the second head coach ever to do that. And if Denver wins by some miracle, that's a crazy story going into the Super Bowl. Is that you have Jarrett Stidham, who might have had a good game against New England, leads his team to a Super Bowl. It'd be nuts. So that's why I'm picking either team out of the AFC. But my guess would be the Patriots.
And then the 49ers got absolutely just ran over by a bus, mugged, bamboozled, robbed, beaten down, all of the above by Seattle. That's just right from the opening kickoff return.
Yeah. Do you see those memes that are the offense is like dancing, running out of the tunnel, and it says like you did all that just to put up 6 points, just put up 2 field goals? Like, ugh.
But the Patriots,
they were hurt,
right. Patriots won that was a sloppy game against Houston. C.J. Stroud, 4 interceptions, 5 turnovers total.
Yeah. That's been the problem. So I'm not surprised that happened. I said, if you remember what I said that the Texans could win it all if C.J. Stroud plays average to pretty good. And he did not.
He didn't even play
No.
average.
And look at how good the defense played. So, that's I think, something to take away from this is that, I think at the end of last year, it was, man, the Panthers made a mistake by not picking Stroud over Bryce. And then now when you see the way this season has gone, you're kind of thinking to yourself, nah, I think Bryce Young was the right decision to take number one. I mean, if I had the choice between those two, now I'm thinking I might take Bryce Young.
I'm glad you brought that up because I forget who it was. I think it was either halftime or postgame, but somebody on ESPN brought up the point. Rookie year with the Texans, they made because nobody expected them with the rookie quarterback to be that great, but they made the playoffs. They won a playoff game, and then these last 2 years they've just dogged it in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And their defense was great. So they brought up kind of a hot take. I mean, is CJ Stroud your quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny going into this.
I mean, is he the future, or do we move on from him? They brought up a good point.
Yeah, no,
I don't disagree with it.
I get it. I mean, going into this season, or the previous year, we were thinking like, wow, this is the Ohio State quarterback that is actually going to have success in the NFL. And now I feel like he's back to Justin Fields' level of incompetence. It's weird. You don't normally see that. Like, you see it sometimes where it's like a rookie quarterback or second-year quarterback pops off. Josh Allen, as an example, maybe had a more rough...
Drake May.
Yeah. But this is just kind of like he doesn't even have flashes. It's just like he's just there. Deshaun Watson, couple good years. Obviously, he had a lot of stuff going on and then turned into nothing. So, I feel for the Texans because I loved watching that team. I love a really good defense. But, you have those struggles on offense. And, I mean, honestly, man, look at the rest of their team. It's not like they have tons of weapons out there for them. They really built this offense and then tried to go in the draft and get a couple guys for offense and get the quarterback, go get some veteran pieces like they did on, with the running backs and stuff like that. It just hasn't really worked out. If they're going to have a shot, they're going to need to make a major push, and they got to figure out by getting offensive players, but then they got to figure out, is Stroud the guy? If Stroud's the guy, you got to get him weapons. If it's not, it's time to move on because this window is going to close for them with this defense.
I think if you're Houston, if he's not the guy, move on from him now in the offseason.
Yeah.
Why wait a whole nother season to have this repeat again where they have a good defense, but then when it counts most, he can't put anything out?
Here's the issue, right? You got him on a rookie deal. So if you don't get him, you either have to get somebody in the draft, which I don't see them doing. I see them more going towards the weapons path or improving the offensive line, but going offense.
Which they need that too.
So then it's like, all right, now are you going to put money towards a free agent quarterback, or are you going to
Jarrett
put that money
Stidham,
elsewhere?
if he wins the Super Bowl.
There you go. He might be if they do it, he might be a hot commodity. But yeah, I just think the Texans right now, they're in a weird spot where I really like their team, but their offense is a question mark.
And I think reality, they're not going to move on from him. He's still on his rookie deal, I think, for at least this next season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, maybe the next two. So that's why it's like, I don't know if I'd give up on him, but you got to figure this out. That's got to be the big focus. And maybe the whole thing is you get him some weapons and it starts to work out a little bit. One of his primary receivers is Brandon Cooks. I'm not saying anything about Brandon Cooks, but this isn't Rams Brandon Cooks.
No.
Or Saints or Patriots.
No.
It is this version of Brandon Cooks. It's a little bit different.
Also, he's got 1 or 2 years left in his rookie deal, but
Brandon Cooks. I'm so sorry. Brandon Cooks was on the Bills. Who am I thinking of? Who's like the primary receiver in Houston? Because it's not
Nico Collins.
Nico Collins, thank you.
But he was hurt.
So it's like you got to get a second one. That's more what I want to say. Yeah, I forgot Cooks was the Bills. I forgot that's where he went. But still, that still echoes true. Sure, Nico would have been awesome, but you need a little bit more extra help there. So sorry to interrupt, but It hit me.
No,
I was like, wait a minute, he's not on there anymore.
I as much as I would hate to say it as a Green Bay fan, but listen, if you want a solid quarterback, if you're Houston, go out and get Malik Willis.
Depends on how much he's asking.
I can't imagine Malik Willis is asking for a ton. He's been a backup the last 3 years. Sure, he's played well, where Green Bay's undefeated or only lost one game ever since he's started for us. But the Titans' years for him doesn't really count, and that's not his fault. It's just the Titans suck. And then he was a backup to Jordan Love. So
I'll use this as an argument, though. Look at what happened with Jimmy Garoppolo. He started 3 games for the Patriots, was undefeated with the Patriots, I believe, and then goes to the Niners, gets a monster deal, and overthrows Emmanuel Sanders in the Super Bowl. They lose the Super Bowl and then never gets back there again with Garoppolo as the quarterback. So and look at what he's doing now. Who knows where he's even at now? I mean, he's at home right now, but I mean, like, who knows what team he's on?
Cancun.
So, yeah. So who knows what team he's on? But, I would be afraid that would happen, that some of these backups are fetching bigger money. And,
it
wouldn't
get
be
it.
that big of a deal, but still, it would, he has proven himself that he might be able to start. I think he's going to get a starting job, and I think Mac Jones will get a starting job.
I think definitely Mac Jones. I also definitely think Malik Willis, he showed flashes with Tennessee.
Yeah.
It was just the fact that the Titans suck.
Yeah.
So, and then backed up Jordan Love. So the Texans are the most interesting team with this offseason. To me, they're the number one most interesting team. I think another team I think would be Green Bay. They
got to do some
We
stuff.
have so many young receivers, but we have such an injury problem in Green Bay. That's number one. Number two, Matt LaFleur cannot call the plays himself anymore. They actually need to go out and hire an offensive coordinator. That's number two. And number three, special teams. So you got to get that figured out. I've been saying special teams was the issue. I said that the whole year.
Yeah. I mean, I know we got to move on from this, but I don't mean to poke the bear, but I thought of this the other day, and I knew you would hate this, so I just thought I'd say it.
Next year for the Lions, too, will be interesting.
Yes.
Once all those guys are off their rookie contracts, who's going to stay?
Yeah. I am not impressed with your guys' receivers. I know that you like your receivers, but I look at that team and I'm like, there is not a true number one. It's not like
right.
Cooper Kupp Rams situation where you had Kupp, Cooks, and somebody else. I can't remember the third guy, but they had like 3 guys that you could potentially say were number one guys, before they got Stafford, when they still had Goff. But I feel like this team, it's like any of those guys could have been ones. With the Packers, I feel like none of these guys could be ones. What
about Christian Watson?
I just am so not sold on Christian Watson. I'm not sold on any of those guys. They could prove me wrong, but I just think that you guys have no top-tier receiver. I would not put anybody in the first 2 tiers.
I think we drafted Matthew Golden to become that number one wide receiver, but
I'm just not incredibly impressed.
I agree.
You guys don't have a Devontae Adams. You don't have a Jordy Nelson. You don't have one of these guys.
Yeah. Well, I think drafted Matthew Golden to become that wide receiver one. But then nobody got him the ball.
Yeah.
But that's not his fault.
Yeah.
They weren't giving him the ball. He was only on an occasional punt return and maybe out there for some actual pass plays.
And these are the things. These are the things we don't see in practice. We don't see. Maybe the coaches are just not having much faith in him, and that's translating to the football field. I don't know.
Well, then that's a hell of a waste on a top 20 pick.
Well,
first time they drafted a receiver in the first round since the 90s, and you don't give him the ball.
You guys should be used to first-round picks not entirely panning out.
We are.
And
we are.
It's just funny that the receiver thing is so weird for the Packers organization. But yeah, I do think that the Packers need a big offseason, especially with how hard this division is.
It's not going to happen.
No, they never
Because
really.
we have a terrible head coach and we have terrible management.
They never really explode in the offseason. But
let Devontae Adams walk.
Yeah. Yeah, and look what he's done.
Not just him. I can go on and on about other guys. But real quick, you wanted to bring up the head coach openings so far.
Yeah, and I will just say this. With all these, McDermott leaves, John Harbaugh leaves, Mike Tomlin leaves, all these really long tenured coaches, who do you think is right now the longest tenured head coach?
I'm going to guess and say Kyle Shanahan, because he's been in San Fran for a few years now.
He has, and he's young, which is crazy. He is third on the list.
I'm going to do one more guess.
Go ahead.
Sean McVay.
He is number 2 on the list. You're forgetting somebody pretty important.
I'm sure I am.
He's a future Hall of Famer. As a coach, he's like a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh, Andy Reid.
Andy Reid is number 1.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at like,
which who knows how much longer he'll be in Kansas City.
Right. I mean, right now it's like the top is Andy Reid, then you have McVay, then you have Shanahan, then it's Zach Taylor for the Bengals, and then your boy Matt LaFleur, and then
he's not my boy,
and then Dan Campbell. But that tells you, like, Dan Campbell 4 years ago, and he's what, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's the 6th longest tenured head coach right now. Crazy. Like all these coaches that I remember from like my childhood and stuff like that, they're all gone or they're on different teams. It's very strange. But Harbaugh to the Giants, interesting.
Yep, Harbaugh to the Giants. The Dolphins found their new head coach, Green Bay's defensive coordinator, Jeff Hafley.
Yep.
Which a lot of Packer fans were hoping, let's get rid of LaFleur and let's put him in a U-Haul van and ship him away. And then promote Jeff Hafley to head coach and then bring in a Mike McDaniel or somebody like that as the coordinator. That was the hope. And everything that happened is just the complete opposite. And of course, it's our luck for that to happen.
And right now, 6 openings are still there for head coaching jobs. You still have the Cardinals, Ravens, Bills, Browns, Raiders, and Steelers. So tons of options still available for some of these head coaches like Tomlin and other guys that they haven't gone anywhere, or McDaniel, all these guys.
So I know we're going to move on, but really quick here with the Steelers. This week, Mike McCarthy is interviewing for the Steelers job.
Horrible idea.
No, wait a minute.
No, horrible idea.
No, wait a minute.
No, that's going to crash and burn. You want them to go under 500? That's your man.
I have a take here. This is going to come back to haunt me because I said last week I'm not doing any more predictions.
Oh, here we go.
I have a take here.
Go ahead.
So, just some brief background. Aaron Rodgers, everybody thought, and he said too, this is more than likely his last year, right? He won a Super Bowl with Mike McCarthy in Green Bay. But then this week a report came out and said he's done with the Steelers. They didn't announce he's retiring officially. They just said he's done with Pittsburgh. So he's either going to retire or he's going to have one more year, just a one-year thing with another team. But somebody I follow brought up a good point this week. Let's say Mike McCarthy takes the Steelers job. And because it's a different coach and a different system...
Run away, Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy reunite for 1 year. You get Pickens back from the injury. You get DK Metcalf back because he was gone.
Pickens is on Dallas.
You're right.
I only know that because he's my fantasy guy. He's like my only good receiver.
That too.
But you still get pieces, and I understand that. And whatever you do in free agency, you try to make a push. We were talking about pushing early.
But we have no clue what the Steelers are going to do in free agency, and if a player wants to go there, they might not because they don't know what's going to happen. Who's going to be the coach? Who's going to be the quarterback?
That sounds like the worst idea in the world, though. And this is coming from me. I'm not a fan of McCarthy, but if Aaron Rodgers is smart, he goes to a team that the furthest team away from McCarthy. Well, the furthest team away from McCarthy is where he should go. I think it would be a horrible idea. There's no way, if you're looking to win right now, if you're looking to win this season,
well,
and that's what
if
he
you're
would be
Rodgers,
doing,
you know you're not winning a Super Bowl.
Well, but he's going to try. If he's going to play again, he's going to go to a team. That's what the Steelers team was this year, and that's what the Jets team was previous years. The way it was looking, it was like
the Jets never had a chance.
Yeah, but it was like the team's already built on the defense. They need to work a few things on the offense. And what was the biggest critique that the year before Rodgers went to the Jets? Man, they'd be so good if they just had a good quarterback. And that's what he did. And he brought his own guys in, and it didn't work out. And then he goes to the Steelers. Again, kind of a similar situation. Didn't work out. So he has to go to, again, you give me my option where he goes. If they have the cap room, Houston.
That is not a bad idea. D'Amico Ryans is a great coach, should be one of the nominees for Coach of the Year. And you get a great defense in Houston. You have some weapons on offense, some veteran running backs with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers still had some good numbers this year. That wouldn't be bad.
Maybe 1 year of Stroud under Rodgers will help him. I don't know, but I think they got to.
And they wouldn't do that. I think they would get rid of Stroud if they knew Rodgers was going to come in.
Right.
But just saying, if Mike McCarthy takes the Steelers' job, even though the Steelers want to move on from Rodgers, I wouldn't be shocked if Rodgers stayed for one more year, hobbled in through the year with Mike McCarthy.
I don't know.
Just saying, Mike McCarthy, Super Bowl winning coach with the Green Bay Packers. Mike McCarthy.
Him winning a Super Bowl as a head coach was like Carson Wentz winning a Super Bowl as
you cannot compare that.
I will.
Carson Wentz was the backup quarterback.
I will make that. He got them all through the regular season.
Okay, well, Mike McCarthy was a great coach in Green Bay. Did
terrible.
He stay a year or two too long? Yes.
More than that.
No,
I think his interview for the Packers job was staying too long.
I think also part of why he was kind of outed from there is, it's just poor management. I said I can go through a bunch of players that have left us, so now we can move on. I just had to make that point about Mike McCarthy. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes the Pittsburgh job.
All right, well, I think that's a horrible
And
idea.
now this clip is going to come back to
I
me.
can't wait.
When we come back, Pistons won on Monday night, 31-10 on the year, and a lot of college basketball on Saturday, a lot of great games. And we'll talk Red Wings when we come back. Welcome back here on JTV. So the Pistons won both of their games last week. They just beat Boston by 1 on Monday night. That was a great game on NBC. They had a 5-game lineup on NBC for MLK Day, and all of them except for one game were pretty good games. So they beat Boston on Monday. Also, they are at New Orleans on Wednesday, and then they host Friday Kevin Durant and the Rockets on Prime Video, and then Sunday versus Sacramento. So Pistons now 31-10 on the year, and I believe they're now 5 games ahead of second place in the Eastern Conference. And the Knicks just got killed by Dallas last night, too. So something I certainly did not expect.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, shout out to Mike Tirico, did a phenomenal job on the Rams and Bears game.
Always the best.
And then the very next evening, for 5 p.m. tip-off, he's doing the Knicks game.
See, he's like Jason Benetti out here. He's doing everything.
Yep. And then the same day as he's calling the Super Bowl, then the next day he'll be starting the Olympics.
That's crazy.
Can you imagine being him calling the Super Bowl and then doing the Olympics?
Yeah, right after. And balancing with all this NBA leading up to it.
And then Sunday night basketball the week before that.
It's crazy.
Which, by the way, I'm excited for Sunday night basketball. And then Sunday night baseball, year-round Sunday night.
I'm excited about baseball, and I'm excited about the Olympics. I always prefer the Summer Olympics, but I'm excited.
Yep. Looking forward to watching the Olympic hockey.
Oh, that's always so electric. That's always so much fun.
And then college basketball on Saturday was a loaded day of college hoops. A lot of close games, a lot of ranked teams losing. Unranked Cincinnati beat number 2 Iowa State. Michigan still doing good. They dropped to number 4, but they took care of business beating Oregon by 10 and sweeping all 4 games in their West Coast road trip. Number 19, Florida beat number 10, Vanderbilt. By the way, Vanderbilt came out of nowhere last year in football. Now they're number 10 in men's basketball, and they're top 5 in women's basketball. So, what's up with Vanderbilt all of a sudden? Number 15, Texas Tech beat number 11, BYU. Number 16, North Carolina lost to unranked Cal. Arkansas lost to number 21, Georgia. Number 23, Utah State lost to Grand Canyon.
Oh, man.
I didn't even know you could play basketball in the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, that's a great name for a school.
And then Kentucky beating their rival Tennessee, and number 25 Seton Hall losing. So a lot of great college hoops. And now that college football is done, we'll have a lot more basketball each night. So, and then Red Wings are still doing really well. So
yeah.
And now baseball.
Yeah, real quick, because we're in the Hall of Fame ballot season. They're sending out the Hall of Fame ballots, and it's looking like, last year Carlos Beltran, you need 75%, I believe, to get in. Last year Beltran was 70. He's gonna get in this year. That's really the only lock in my mind. I think Andrew Jones has a really good shot, but you have 10 years to get in on the main ballot. This is his 9th year. So he's running out of chances. I think this could be the year he gets in.
Can you still get in after 10 years?
Yeah, but it's a weird thing because you have to get voted in by the writer. There's a weird thing that you have to get. It's
a whole thing.
Yeah, it's the way that Alan Trammell got in. It's the way that Jack Morris got in. So it's possible. I think they're still trying to get.
But it's slim.
Yeah, they're still trying to get Sweet Lou in as well, in the same way that those guys got in, which he should be in the Hall of Fame when you look at his numbers. His numbers are great. But we know how hard it is to get into the Baseball Hall of Fame. And, I mean, when you look Manny Ramirez is in his final year of eligibility, and he only has 34% of the vote from last year. He won't get in. A-Rod's numbers keep going up every year in terms of percentages, but he's starting to run out of chances, and he's at 37%, so he's probably not even going to get in. Other than Carlos Beltran and possibly Andrew Jones, this could be the year for Chase Utley. I'm not sure, but just a couple names to look out for. I really don't see anybody other than those first 3 guys that I mentioned getting in. But
it's just crazy to think a guy like A-Rod
is
not going to be in the Hall of Fame. I know the steroids thing.
It is.
Just like Pete Rose, that whole situation. But it's A-Rod, and he's not going to get in the Hall of Fame.
But there's so many names on this list. When you look at this list, they're all, in my eyes, and it's because I watch them play, it's all these guys that I feel like should be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, I don't see how anybody wouldn't put him in.
Andy Pettit, Felix Hernandez, Bobby Abreu, Jimmy Rollins, Omar Vizquel, Dustin Pedroia. I mean, David Wright, Torrey Hunter. I was always a big Torrey Hunter fan. Yeah, which it's kind of crazy. David Wright is getting no votes, but when you look at his stats aren't as good as everybody else in that area, in that era. But his leadership is what kind of made him stand out. And then the only other big baseball news is Tucker goes to the Dodgers. The number 1 available free agent goes to the Dodgers. On top of them getting Edwin Diaz, who is the top, relief pitcher, top closer that you could get. They are really looking like it's going to be a three-peat. I really, at this point, I feel
I'm
like
there's pencil that in right now.
I feel like there's almost no doubt in my mind when you look at this team, what they've assembled, the fact that they will be better than last year. And last year was better than the year before.
Ridiculous to say, considering how they were last year.
So I think it'll be an easy 100 wins for them. And I think you could get around 105, 106 this year. I think that they're going to be easily the best team in baseball.
Do you imagine going 105 and 57?
Yeah. I think they can. I think they're going to be the tough team this year, just like it's been previous years. And we are in store for this. I mean, I think when you look at the Yankees of the 50s, I think this team has the possibility with how they've done what they've done with their money, with deferments and with getting guys in. This team, I think, is going to be better. Screw talking about, are they better than the 90s Yankees? I think they might be better than the 50s Yankees. And if you don't know, the 50s Yankees, I think in the 50s, I think they won 7 World Series in that decade. So 7 of the 10 they won. And I think they were in 9 of those World Series. So we might be getting something similar in this. And I never thought that would ever happen again.
And I hate to bring up Tarek Skubal again. I know everybody wants to keep him here. But look.
He ain't going to the Dodgers.
Well.
He's not. I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
So you think he's going to end up with the Mets then?
Yeah.
Or the Yankees?
I think the Yankees have a really good shot at getting him. And it all depends on what happens at the end of this year, right? Because unless we do a trade, it's not going to be this year.
No, but that's going to be the headline for the entire season.
It will be. It will be.
And it's going to be interesting to find out how this arbitration goes.
Yeah,
because
that's coming up.
I don't know the exact date on that, but
yeah, I mean the hearings are coming up relatively soon. I think all that gets figured out before the pitchers and catchers report for winter meetings and all that stuff. So I think it's before that.
But it's just their negotiations are so far apart. 19 million and then 32 million, which is what Tarek wants.
Yeah.
Can they meet in the middle? Listen, I want to be optimistic, so I'm gonna say they are. I'm gonna say they are gonna.
The courts are going to force them to meet in the middle, but it's what happens. Does that damage the relationship, and what happens afterwards? But this is such a common baseball thing. I'm not worried about that. Like I told you before, told you this probably episode 4 of the David Rice Show, that I'm resigning to the fact that he is not going to re-sign with us. I'm just accepting it. So if it happens, I will be very happy and pleasantly surprised, but I just don't think it's happening.
All right, when we come back, we will take a brief second to look ahead to Thursday night, Hanover-Horton at Columbia Central, and then our 2 live games for next week, so stay tuned. Welcome back here on JTV. Thank you to the Insurance Circle Agency. All right, before we go, we will be live Thursday night for the Comets and the Golden Eagles. In Brooklyn, Hanover-Horton at Columbia Central. Thursday night hoops presented by Minuteman Sewer and Drain and the College Chevrolet pregame show at 6:45. Me and Max Fritz will be with you. Going to be a great game. It's going to be a whiteout Thursday night in Brooklyn, Michigan, and that's going to be awesome. So, coincidentally, there was a whiteout when we were there last year, too.
Yeah.
And, I've never done a basketball game at Columbia Central. I've done several football games there, but I've never done a basketball game there.
I love their gym.
I do, too.
Yeah.
Matt Kibbe and Pat did the game there last year.
Oh, okay.
So, I'm looking forward to it. I know they watch our show, and I know they follow JTV, so everybody's already been posting about it. They're excited for us to be there. So, look, real quick, just my first thoughts on that game. Columbia's looked really good. Tough loss to Jonesville last week by 2. Going to be a great second game between them at Columbia later this year. And Hanover, obviously, very storied program, lots of history. But they're a lot younger this year, and they have struggled at times this year. So I'm interested to see how this game goes. I don't see Columbia running away with it, and I don't see Hanover running away with it. So it's going to be a close game, just like we hope it, is going to be. So that'll be at 6:45 Thursday night. And then next week, we have Monday and Friday. That's why we'll be with you again on Tuesday next week. Live Monday, we'll have the Vikings of Jackson at Northwest. Big non-conference matchup, but a big crosstown rivalry. When Jackson and Lumen played at Spring Arbor, that was a huge crowd. And I expect the same at Northwest for Northwest against Jackson. So me and Max will be doing that. And then next Friday, the 30th, we'll be at Lumen Christi. Me and Pat O'Dowd will be on that game.
Wow.
Excited to have POD back on the headset with me. So Friday, we'll have Bloomfield Hills, Cranbrook, Kingswood. That's a mouthful. Cranbrook coming to Jackson to take on Lumen Christi. That's a big Catholic League game. Cranbrook beat Lumen in Bloomfield Hills by 1 just a few weeks ago. 1 point. So it's going to be a great game at the Dome at Lumen Christi. So for that and more, go to jtv.tv and subscribe for free. Stay up to date on your favorite schools happenings and everything we're covering there. Center for Family Health scoreboard each night as well. And make sure to like our Facebook page, too, the David Rice Show on Facebook. Sports news and all the high school scores every night on there as well. So, all right, thank you, the Insurance Circle Agency. We will see you Thursday night at Columbia. And come say hi to us while we're there.
Yeah.
So, all right, that's Adam. I'm David. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.